the double. Lady to the corner. Vandersloot. No! And that is it! An unforgettable finish to Game 4.
These were the best of times. Not for Courtney Vandersloot. That air ball was in another time zone. I'm talking about the Las Vegas Aces. Back-to-back championships, all-star roster, league MVP. They looked to be unstoppable. But now, the one-time powerhouse could be heading straight to the shithouse. Last year, they fell short as the New York Liberty claimed the 2024 title. Record-setting performances and a roster full of stars, gone in the blink of an eye. Well, not yet, but things are getting dicey. Kelsey Plum, one of their most critical players, just got cored, and you won't believe what this means for their championship hopes. And here's where it gets even juicier. A'ja Wilson, the reigning MVP, could be left without her best running mate, putting Caitlin Clark in a prime position to take the throne as the undisputed best player in the WNBA. Stick around because the latest Sin City drama could have a dynasty on its last legs, a new dynasty ready to take its place, and the potential for a crowning moment for the league's biggest star. Before we get too deep into this mess, take a second to subscribe. It's scientifically proven to make your favorite team win more games. Okay, maybe not, but it does help us out.
Help D was right there. What a pass! And what a drop-off for A'ja Wilson.
Phoenix trying to win a third straight with Beck Allen and BG back in the lineup.
Let's rewind for a second and look at just how dominant the Las Vegas Aces were. This wasn't just a good team. They were the pinnacle of excellence in the WNBA 2023 season highlights. They posted a jaw-dropping 34-6 record, securing the league's best record for the second year in a row. They didn't just win games, they obliterated their competition, finishing the regular season with an average margin of victory of nearly 10 points. The Aces were a nightmare matchup for every team. They had A'ja Wilson, a two-time MVP and Finals MVP, who averaged 22.8 points, 9.5 rebounds, and 2 blocks per game. Her ability to dominate the paint and defend at an elite level made her the cornerstone of this dynasty. Then there was Kelsey Plum. This wasn't just your average all-star. This was a player who could drop 25 points on a whim, hit clutch threes from downtown, and dish out assists like she had a sixth sense. Plum finished the 2023 season averaging 18.8 points, 5 assists, and shooting 39% from three-point range. Defenses had no answer for her ability to break them down. And let's not forget the supporting cast. There was Chelsea Gray, nicknamed the Point God, who orchestrated the offense with precision and earned Finals MVP honors. They also had Jackie Young, who stepped up her scoring and defensive contributions, making her one of the most versatile players in the league.
Hesitation, Jackie Young.
Jackie Young.
This team wasn't just good, they were loaded. When the playoffs rolled around, the Aces showed no mercy. They swept their way through the first 2 rounds, leaving no doubt about who the best team in the league was. They went on to win the championship in 2023. But here's the thing about dynasties. They're fragile. Success comes at a cost. Contracts expire, players start looking for bigger roles and bigger paychecks elsewhere. And sometimes, egos clash. In 2024, the Aces went from being a loaded team to looking like mere mortals. From rising competitions to injuries to roster adjustments, their dominance continually got chipped away. They finished the season with a strong record, but their playoff came to an end when they came head-to-head with red-hot New York Liberty.
These players, because social media has been brutal. Kelsey.
The Aces were the gold standard, the team everyone wanted to beat, but maintaining that kind of dominance was a monumental challenge. And now, those cracks are starting to show. Take Kelsey Plum, for instance. She's one of the league's top scorers and playmakers, but her recent coring by the Aces indicates that her future with the team is far from guaranteed. This isn't just a loss, it's a seismic shift. Meanwhile, the rest of the league has been catching up. Teams like the Indiana Fever are loading up with young talent, and the New York Liberty, hot off their first championship, are retooling for another shot at glory. So while the Aces were the epitome of dominance in 2023, they couldn't replicate the same success in 2024. Now, the question everyone is asking, can they keep it together? Or is this the beginning of the end for one of the greatest teams in WNBA history?
Here tonight, Kelsey Plum, aka Plum Dog, on the take high off.
Yourself in the position to get offensive rebounds when you move the ball from side to side.
All right, let's get to the bombshell news. Kelsey Plum has officially been cored by the Las Vegas Aces. If you're not familiar with the term, it essentially gives the Aces exclusive negotiating rights with Plum. But let's be real, it's a clear signal that her future with the team is in jeopardy. This move has sent shockwaves through the league. Why? Because losing Plum isn't just losing another player. This is Kelsey Plum. Last season, she averaged 18.8 points, 5 assists, and 4 rebounds per game. She wasn't just a scorer, she was a playmaker, a facilitator, and one of the league's most dynamic guards. She hit clutch shots, carved up defenses, and opened up the floor for her teammates in a way that very few players in the league can replicate.
Pressure with pressure, and she's done so attacking the basket. The hesitation. Oh, gets that shooter's touch.
And speaking of her teammates, let's talk about her chemistry with A'ja Wilson. Plum assisted on 30% of A'ja Wilson's field goals last season, including some iconic alley-oops and perfectly timed dimes in transition. Her ability to drive into the lane, collapse the defense, and kick it out to A'ja for an easy finish was one of the Aces' most lethal offensive weapons. But here's the kicker. That chemistry is now on the chopping block. If Plum leaves, the Aces aren't just losing one of their top scorers. They're losing a player who is integral to their identity. And this isn't just speculation. According to multiple reports, the Golden State Valkyries, the WNBA's newest expansion team, are already circling like sharks. They're rumored to be ready to offer Plum a massive contract, giving her a chance to lead her own team as the franchise cornerstone. Other teams like the New York Liberty are also rumored to be interested, knowing that adding a player of Plum's caliber could push them over the top in their own championship quests. So why is this happening? Why would the Aces risk losing such a key piece of their championship puzzle? The answer lies in the financial realities of the WNBA. The Aces already have massive contracts tied up with A'ja Wilson, Chelsea Gray, and Jackie Young. Adding Plum to the mix on a max deal would severely limit their ability to build a deep bench, a problem they struggled with even last season.
It's taking another timeout. She is not happy with the layups Vegas has allowed. It was her biggest point of contention after game 1, and it just happened again here in game 2.
Second time out in their faces. Why is she frustrated?
It's a bold decision, and one that the Aces front office likely didn't make lightly. But the risks are undeniable. Plum's departure would leave a massive void in their backcourt and force them to restructure an offense that was built around her ability to both score and facilitate. And let's not forget the impact this has on A'ja Wilson. Losing Plum means losing her primary playmaker and someone she's built years of on-court chemistry with. For a player like Wilson, who thrives on getting the ball in the right spots at the right time, this is a big deal. Losing Plum could open the door for teams like the Liberty, last year's should-been winners, the Minnesota Lynx.
That was not a foul.
Or even rising teams like the Indiana Fever, with Caitlin Clark leading the charge. So yeah, coring Plum might give the Aces a short-term advantage in negotiations, but make no mistake, if she moves, the ripple effects will be felt far beyond the box score. The question is, can the Aces afford to let her go? And if they do, who steps up to fill those massive shoes?
Oh, the deep seal, but the block from behind by Will.
Getting the ball to her. Defense double team. A'ja Wilson with a 3.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room. What does this mean for A'ja Wilson? A'ja isn't just the face of the Las Vegas Aces. She's the reigning MVP. From her highlight reel blocks to her ability to take over games in crunch time, A'ja has been the anchor of this team's success. She's the type of player that teams build dynasties around, but even the best players need the right pieces around them to thrive, and that's where things get complicated. Wilson is coming off another MVP season, averaging 26.9 points, 11.9 rebounds, and 2.58 blocks per game. Now, here's the problem. Losing Kelsey Plum isn't just a hit to the roster, it's a hit to A'ja's effectiveness. Plum wasn't just any teammate. She was Wilson's primary playmaker. She created space, drew defenders, and set A'ja up for some of her easiest looks of the season. Remember, 30% of A'ja's buckets last season came off Plum's assists. Without that connection, opposing defenses can zero in on Wilson, double teaming her every chance they get.
A couple of them tonight. Houston on Wilson. Turns money.
Without Plum's ability to stretch the floor with her shooting, defenders can pack the paint, making A'ja's job infinitely harder. We're talking about a scenario where Wilson might have to fight through 2 or even 3 defenders just to get a clean look at the basket. And let's not forget the intangible impact Plum had on A'ja. These two weren't just teammates, they were close. Losing someone like Plum doesn't just disrupt the flow of the offense, it disrupts the vibe of the entire team.
If you guys believed in yourselves like she believes in you, great things would happen. How did that
Here's the kicker. This isn't just about stats or on-court production. This is about legacy. A'ja Wilson is on a trajectory to be remembered as one of the greatest players in WNBA history. She's already a 3-time MVP, a Finals MVP, and a WNBA champion. But legacy isn't just about individual accolades, it's about winning. How do you continue building that legacy when the foundation of your team is crumbling beneath you? A'ja has spoken before about the importance of having a strong team around her. She knows that basketball is a team sport, and no matter how dominant she is, she can't do it alone. But with Plum's future uncertain and other core players aging or facing potential moves, the Aces dynasty feels like it's hanging by a thread. The pressure is on not just A'ja, but also the entire Aces organization. If they can't retool and re-energize this roster, they risk wasting the prime years of one of the most dominant players the league has ever seen.
Because I don't want my teammates, here I go about to cry, because I love them so much. It's hard. It's really, really hard. And I don't even know if I'm crying. But I love my teammates so much that I will take any hit from them. Good, bad, ugly. I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna try to be the best. I get y'all saying best player in the world. That's great, it looks great.
This isn't just about the Aces' future, this is about A'ja Wilson's legacy. And right now, it's at a risk. Now let's shift gears. With the Aces potentially taking a step back, the spotlight is shifting, and Caitlin Clark is poised to steal the show. If you thought her rookie season was jaw-dropping, buckle up, because this season, she's gunning for that MVP crown. Let's revisit her insane rookie numbers. She had 19.2 points per game, as a rookie, mind you. 8.4 assists per game, which puts her among the league's elite playmakers. 5.7 rebounds per game, showing that she's not just a scorer, but an all-around force. These stats aren't just good, they're historic. Clark came into the WNBA like a wrecking ball, breaking rookie records left and right while playing on a team that, let's be honest, wasn't exactly stacked with talent.
And that's the way to push the ball in transition. Oh, that's not gonna waste much time. Caitlin Clark has her second three-pointer.
Here is Clark. She will launch and bury a three.
45 blocks last year. Clark for three. Clark trying to take her defender, pulls up and hits from the mid-range. Down here comes Clark, bouncing to back. Badway who lays it in.
Think about this. Caitlin Clark single-handedly dragged the Indiana Fever to the playoffs. This is a team that, before her arrival, had become synonymous with mediocrity. Weak supporting cast? Check. Questionable coaching decisions? Double check. But none of that mattered because Clark was the ultimate equalizer. And now, the game is changing.
Stephanie White wins her first game as a WNBA head coach.
With Coach of the Year, Stephanie White, now leading the Fever, everything is aligning for Clark to explode. White is known for her ability to build systems that maximize a team's strengths. And let's be honest, no team has a strength quite like Caitlin Clark. A year of experience under her belt means Clark is only going to get better. She's adapted to the physicality of the league, she's learned how defenses scheme against her, and most importantly, she's learned how to thrive despite all of that. Let's put this in perspective. Clark's rookie numbers are already on par with the all-time greats. She's scoring like Diana Taurasi, dishing dimes like Sue Bird, and rebounding like a forward. She's the definition of a do-it-all superstar. And here's where it gets really interesting. Caitlin Clark is already the second favorite in MVP odds. That's unheard of for a sophomore player, but with the Aces likely taking a step back, especially if A'ja struggles without Kelsey Plum, you better believe those odds are going to shift fast.
Pretty good team.
That was what made that team so good, you two? Outside Clark again!
Let's not forget that Clark's impact isn't just about stats. It's about what she brings to the game as a whole. She's an event. Her games are must-watch TV, her jersey is flying off shelves, and her social media presence rivals some of the biggest stars in sports. This is the kind of player who changes the narrative of an entire league. If the Aces falter, Caitlin Clark has the perfect opportunity to step into that void and become the face of the WNBA. So what happens if Clark does take that MVP crown? For starters, it would silence the doubters who still cling to the idea that she's just a shooter. It would also cement her as one of the fastest rising stars in sports history. The Fever is on the rise. With a better supporting cast, improved coaching, and a generational talent like Caitlin Clark leading the charge, this team isn't just aiming for the playoffs. they're aiming for a deep run. And let's not forget, the league itself benefits from Clark's ascension. Higher ratings, more sold-out arenas, and increased sponsorships. It's all part of the Caitlin Clark effect.
Yeah, it was great. Honestly, it was a lot of fun. I thought we came in here and we competed hard. That was the thing. Like, we knew they were going to want to win, so we came out with the same mindset of wanting to win. I think we were down 2 at halftime, and I thought we started the third quarter really strong, and that's what kind of set the tone for that whole second half.
If A'ja Wilson is the reigning queen of the WNBA, Caitlin Clark is the heir apparent. And this might just be the season where she takes the throne.
What do you think about Ice Cube and the Big Three offering Caitlin Clark $5 million to play in their league?
Well, I have a lot of thoughts. But the first one is, so you offered the contract to a player who's not yet even in the WNBA. Big Three does not happen during overseas season, so that doesn't make sense.
That's true.
And then for us to get, like, just constantly shit on, like, you can't even acknowledge the growth and how amazing the WNBA is doing because shit like this happens.
When
you didn't even have to bring up the W.
You asked me about Caitlin. If you're going to break a record, to me, if it's legitimate, you have to break that record in the same amount of time that that player set it.
Okay.
So if Kelsey Plum set that record in 4 years, well, Caitlin should have broke that record in 4 years. But because there's a COVID year, and then there's another year, you know what I mean? So she's already had an extra year to break that record. Right now probably takes about 40 shots a game.
Here we go.
I know you like that.
Yeah.
Her breaking the record, I think obviously is a tremendous accomplishment, although, you know, we could get into that discussion also, because there's a big debate on Lynette Woodard having the actual record.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Caitlin Clark's critics love to downplay her success. They say she's overhyped, that she's just a shooter, or that she doesn't have the same impact as players like A'ja Wilson. Well, let me hit you with some facts. Clark's debut game drew 2.5 million viewers, outpacing several NBA games. Fever ticket sales jumped 93% after her arrival. And her jersey? It's the best seller in the league.
The Fever not only hold the attendance record at both home and away games this year, but the merchandise sales are through the roof, with jersey sales seeing a 1,200% increase, and the top seller is number 22.
She's not just a player, she's a phenomenon. And if she leads the Fever to another playoff run while putting up MVP numbers, the haters are going to have nothing left to say. So, what's next for the Aces? Losing Kelsey Plum is a massive blow, and it's not the only challenge they're facing. Key free agents are leaving, the front office is in flux, and the rest of the league is catching up fast. It's hard to call this anything other than the beginning of the end of their dynasty. And with young teams like the Indiana Fever on the rise, the Aces could be looking at a very different reality next season. So, what do you think? Is this the end of the Aces' reign? Is Caitlin Clark ready to take over the league? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this season is shaping up to be one of the most exciting and dramatic in WNBA history.